When you marry someone, you promise to love them forever.
Baby.
No matter how much they might change.
Bryant? Baby, what happened to your face?
It's just a bee sting.
From Universal Pictures
Tree is sick or something?
comes a film so shocking.
We got a real problem here.
So disgusting.
Don't let him in your mouth!
It will change the face of horror.
Marriage is a sacred bond, for better or worse.
Much worse.
I'm a big fan of James Gunn.
Yes.
He's the director of the movie we're going to talk about here, Slither. He also has this really bizarre movie called Super, starring Rainn Wilson as a dude who decides to become a superhero after he is touched by God. I recommend you checking it out. It's not a movie for everybody, but it is definitely a movie for you and I.
Yeah, okay.
But that's not what we're talking about today. We're talking about Slither. This movie stars Nathan Fillion.
Woo!
Free me.
Oh.
Star of Firefly and Serenity, and now
Castle?
Castle. An Edmonton-born boy.
Really?
He and I used to shop at the same comic book store.
Huh.
Never met the man, but we did shop at the same comic book store. I heard him interviewed, and he was talking about Edmonton and the Wee Book Inn, and I was like, oh, that's so awesome! Anyway, he plays the sheriff of a small town that gets a visitation from outer space in the form of a weird slug creature that infects a character played by Michael Rooker.
Mm-hmm.
And it sets about making some babies and spreading a plague, a very bizarre plague. It includes great variety of things. We got wormy slugs.
Yeah.
We got sort of possessed zombie-like people.
Mm-hmm.
We've got a giant morphing squid monster.
Yeah. Sort of the mother-father figure.
Yeah. And then we've got the cast of kooky characters in this small sort of hunting town.
Yeah.
This is a fun B-movie sort of vibe, but very modern. And it was a huge bomb at the box office.
It was, which, I mean, I have to admit, like, when I first saw the commercials, I was like, I have no interest in seeing that. That looks stupid. But, you know, it's one of those movies, I'm like, as soon as I picked it up on DVD, I've watched this movie, I don't know how many times, and I highly recommend it to people.
Well, Gunn got the gig because he wrote the remake to Dawn of the Dead. So this was the script that he had next, and he wanted to direct it. And I think in an ideal world, it would have been a monster hit. People keep on asking, you know, where's our generation's John Carpenter, who does just silly, fun, awesome you know, popcorn entertainment cinema.
Well, the Thing was scary.
The Thing was scary.
The Thing was scary.
But I mean, you know.
But Escape from LA, really.
For the most part, he'll do straight up horror movies, but Carpenter, I think his bread and butter is sort of fun, romp, silly kind of movies that I enjoy. And I think James Gunn has potential to be that. And I wish that his movies did better than they did. Both Super and Slither were kind of fairly... Not a lot of ripples made in the water, but... I am a big fan of Slither.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's going to borrow from other genres. It borrows a little bit from the Body Snatchers.
Yeah.
You know, it borrows the sort of slug thing. Really reminds me of an '80s classic called Night of the Creeps.
Yeah.
You know, the small town being invaded by alien thing has been done so many times.
Wow.
But I don't think ever this gross, and I don't think ever this funny.
Well, and like just the mind-altering slug. You know, we have, you know, Khan! Like, you know, they put it in the air and things like that in Star Trek. But, like, yeah, this movie was fun. It was an awesome cast. Yeah. Had my homeboy, you know, Dustin Milligan in one scene. Yeah! Canada! Yellowknife, though. Hey, it's awesome. The kid from, like, Yellowknife just, like, makes it up in the big leagues.
Was it Yellowknife? I thought
it was no.
Close enough.
Close enough. He's still our boy. But, like... Was it? And they said that like they used up like the national supply of like what was it, like slime or like some sort of like this like prosthetic.
No, I believe it.
And like it was just, I mean, it was fun. It was, you know, it was clever. Michael Rooker was a champ. You could tell that he,
Spent a lot of time in the makeup
a
chair.
lot of time in the makeup chair, and like it was one of those movies where like out of the list of movies where I'd say like there's a lot of movies that maybe I thought was like the best movie.
Yeah.
The one that I would probably like one of the ones that I would probably uniformly like give to people and say like you'll like this movie.
Yeah.
I feel like this has a wider audience than a lot of the movies we're going to review today.
Absolutely. I'm not. It's not going to be at the top of the list for me.
For sure.
But it is very good at being what it is, which is a horror comedy. I mean, the parts that are funny are really funny, and the parts that are scary are quite scary. Things work. There's also great bizarre moments in the movie. There's a zombie deer attack that happens at one point. The squid monster, they take to calling it the squid monster, and they have pictures of squids on the map everywhere.
Little tiny cartoons sticking out like squids on the map.
Absolutely. There's just lots of little bizarre moments. And we have a similar sort of unrequited love relationship between Nathan Fillion and Elizabeth Banks. She's married to Michael Rooker, a man much older and gruffer than she. And Nathan Fillion wishes she was not, and wants to play the hero to her. Elizabeth Banks has an interesting role in this movie in that she is asked to try to romance this repulsive, throbbing, alien, mushy thing.
And she did a good job. In my mind, this actually might be my favorite Elizabeth Banks performance.
she's pretty strong in it,
Yeah. And having to, take that seriously, you walk on a set and you see Michael Rooker in a big Jabba the Hutt looking prosthetic or something, and and puppeteers working like tentacles around her and stuff as she's like has to deliver this really dramatic scene. Tough
and committed.
Tough challenge. 100% commitment.
I was talking about how the movie goes places you don't expect. The first woman who gets infected by Michael Rooker to create the little worms, which go on to infect the entire town. She gets impregnated and put in a barn and is being fed raw meat for the first half an hour or so of the movie. And when they find her, she is swollen so cartoonishly huge, she barely fits in the barn.
She's an orb. She's the Charlie in the Chocolate Factory, girl who turns into a blueberry.
This is one of the most cartoonish things I've ever seen in a real movie. Yeah. And yet, in the world of this movie,
I buy it.
Completely accept
There's no question.
Anything can happen at any time in this movie, and I love that about it. We're going to have a good laugh at the, shit-kicking mayor being a goofball in the one scene, and in the next scene, we're going to watch an entire family get fucking killed.
Just horribly. And, one of my favorite parts was when the one ranch family gets all infected and the one daughter runs behind Nathan Fillion, right? And wants protection. It's and they all look like these infected zombies. They just don't look well. And he's like, what? He's like, what's wrong? He's like, would you believe poison ivy? And the two daughters simultaneous, we're itchy.
That's right. It's a funny line and it's creepy.
It's creepy and hilarious, and that was what I loved about it. And even the deer, the deer possession, and it had this very cartoony Muppet feel to it. But I was sold on it throughout the entire movie. There wasn't a moment where I was like, okay, that's just fucking silly.
Stop that. That's silly. The movie's just fun. I think that the thing I would most compare this to as far as the level of fun and gore and scares is a classic early 90s monster movie called Tremors. Where, the movie wants to be fun and relatively light, even though there's going to be a body count, but they somehow ride this razor blade thing where they manage to be stupid and serious and funny and scary. And I think that done really, really well is rare, which is why it's such a sin that Slither didn't get the audience it deserved when it was released. I was counting down the days for this to be on DVD. It's one of the few movies that I paid full price for because I just was I was so in love with how goofy and dark and funny, and Yeah, I guess you say this will please the most amount of people, but I do also understand it has this weird edginess to it as well. I find in a lot of weird indie Canadian movies will have these scenes that go just a step or two farther than maybe they should.
They should have, yeah.
There's something of that vibe in Slither too.
Yeah.
But they never tip their hands so much as that. They never quite directly wink and look
No.
at their audience, but they come as close as they
close
can.
to it. But I mean, that's the other thing too. It's like, I don't know, Firefly had some of that weird, wacky humor too. That it was that sort of fun Joss Whedon sort of situation. But I had the exact same reaction to Slither when it was first coming out, and I saw the advertisements as I did for Cabin in the Woods, which is another one of my all-time favorite movies now. It looks terrible and cheesy. And then as soon as I get anchored down to watch it, and normally I feel like I'm a very good judge of movies based on the trailers and what I've seen, but these were two movies that came out of nowhere for me and were fantastic. I loved Slither.
Yeah, and on the strength of his, writing the remake of Dawn of the Dead and Slither, I will watch.
I'll watch anything else he
does.
makes. Yeah,
and I'm a fan of Super. Like I say, I'm in the minority. I think in a lot of ways, like that movie's just a little too weird for your normal everyday mom and pop audience.
Yeah.
But his next up is a Marvel superhero movie called Guardians of the Galaxy. It's a weird choice. I think they might be doing some of the more obscure, bizarre picks too soon in the Marvel universe.
Yeah.
But you know what? I'm going to go see it.
Yeah, exactly.